Welcome, fellow EDCers, to the Carry or Bury YouTube channel. As always, I'm your host, Prophet. My partner in EDC, as always, is the Professor. You may hear from Herc or Cuz in this episode or future ones. They'll make lots of appearances, hopefully in the future. Keep those names in your memory tubes. Today, we'll be reviewing the Kizer Cormorant. A bit of info as always in our first section. Getting to know Kizer Cutlery. Kizer's parent company is E.D.C Outdoors. They're located in the Guangdong province in Guangzhou, China. To give a little bit of background on Kizer, they got their start in knives in around 2012 and are seen as one of the premier knife manufacturers out of China. As one of the first knife companies to actually challenge U.S. quality. Kizer takes pride in the materials they use and in the designs that they produce. Kizer produces some of the finest production knives in China. Use of precision machining and some of the best materials with optimal heat treatments are usually employed. Kizer creates artful production knives with excellent fit, finish, action, and sharpness. Usually the quality versus cost equation is incredibly high, allowing most of the models offered to be considered extreme bargains. Guys, I can remember when Chinese knives had a terrible stigma. Not 13 years later, some of my favorite knives have come from our Chinese brothers and sisters. One neat tidbit on Kizer is a former employee, Kim Ning, who helped bring Kizer into the forefront of quality and design, broke apart and started Concept Knives. Concept also strives in quality and premium materials. Okay, enough about Kizer. Let's talk about the Cormorant. What is a cormorant? Well, guys, it's a bird. It's a water bird, actually. The cormorant, or any member of them, over about the 26 to 30 species or so, are water birds. They're located in the Orient and elsewhere. These glossy black underwater swimmers have been tamed for fishing and other wonderful things. Cormorant's short wings make them incredibly agile swimmers. They actually use less energy swimming than they do when flying. In fact, they have the highest flight cost of any flying bird. Some cormorants are also known for their ability to use rocks as tools, and this actually helps them open up the shells of prey that they have captured. Pretty darn cool. Okay, let's go through some specs and comparisons here. A little bit about the Cormorant here. The model number is going to be K for Kilo, I for Igloo, 456, 2, A for Alpha, and the number 1. The overall length, fully open, is 7 3/75 thousandths of an inch. The designer, all I could find on it is someone named Yu. Okay, thank you, Yu. To open it, we've got the thumb hole is going to be the one portion that they say is the optimal opening of it, but as we'll get into later, there's many other options. The blade thickness is about 0.12 inches. The blade material is going to be CPM S35VN. The handle length without the knife deployed is going to be roughly 4.125 inches. It has a G10 fun handle. It does have a pocket clip, which is designed for tip-up carry, and the pocket clip can be ambidextrous. The weight is about 3.1 ounces or 88 grams. It has a stainless steel frame liner, and it actually has a button lock mechanism. The Cormorant is designed by Mr. Yu Dong. It is excellent in both appearance, design, and practicability. It is a button lock, as we just talked about. It does have a clip point blade made from that CPM S35VN. Let me clean this up a little bit for you on camera. And as you can see, this particular model has the white G10 scales. The white G10 scales. The Cormorant is a fantastic little knife, and you can use it for basically any little tooling that you have for a small pocket knife. Okay. We're going to do a size comparison here with this particular knife, and so if you'll forgive me as we start, we are going to start with a Ferrum Forge knife. This is the Ferrum Forge Stinger. We'll leave the ruler up here for reference here. The Ferrum Forge Stinger is another small utility style knife. It does also have liners, okay, and it does also boast top G10 scales. We'll get both of these knives open here. A little bit about the Ferrum Forge Stinger is opposed to the 119 or so for the Kizer Cormorant. The Ferrum Forge Stinger sells retail for around $90 when they're in stock. Like I said, it does have the G10 scales with steel liners. It is a liner lock knife opposed to the button lock knife of the Kizer. We're going to put them open and closed together for you, and I'm going to utilize my area here to get you in the picture. As you can see, roughly they are super close to the same shape. We're going to go ahead and look at them from a top point view as well, and I'll try to keep them as even as humanly possible here. And there they are from the other side. There's your clip side on both of the knives, and here is your show side on both of the knives. Now the Kizer again has the S35 VN, forgive me, and the Ferrum Forge knife has a 3.2 inch Nitro V blade, and it does have a finger choil in the blade as well. Even with the finger choil, we are going to have somewhere close to, I'd say roughly just under 3 inches of usable blade. Okay, let us move on again to another size comparison here, and we are going to show a really popular knife here, especially in the United States, and rightfully so. This particular guy is the Spyderco Para 3 or the Spyderco Paramilitary 3. This knife is going to be a compression lock knife that's going to have a 2.92 inch CPM Spy 27 blade. That's an actual Spyderco proprietary blade here on this particular knife. We're going to open both of them and look at them closely here. As you can see here, all right, the Para 3 is wearing FRN lightweight scales with a nice satin rub finish. Both are roughly the same size again, so you're getting a lot of the same stuff here. Now the Spyderco is going to be a little bit more in price range. They retail for around $160 for this particular setup, although you are going to get the really nice compression lock on the Spyderco. So it's going to be an option for some of you. So again, we'll leave those for just a moment, and we will get into our third comparison. I know this knife has really taken a lot of folks by storm. This particular guy here is the Civivi Vision FG. Now, for under $100, I think they go for about $99, depending on where your favorite shopping stop is. But this is going to utilize Civivi's Super Lock. It's very, very close to the Demco Shark Lock, which is very cool. It actually has a lot of deployability, again, with this particular knife, as well as the Kizer. This one is going to be sporting a little bit of a larger blade. You're going to be about 3.54 inches of a reverse tanto. This particular model is dressed in Damascus. Really well done, actually, on that. We'll give both knives a look from the top down. Now, as you can see, this is a larger knife. However, for the price point and not being that much larger, I decided to put it in for what we're dealing with comparisons on size. Again, you do have a good ½ inch of an extra knife here in the handle and in the blade mostly. But for cutting edge, you'll notice that they're very close in cutting edge to the same. I would honestly say within a ½ inch. So you are getting a lot of cutting edge with the Kizer here. We'll go ahead and close both those knives so you can get a little bit more of an idea. Oh, forgive me. Forgot what one I was holding there for a second, my EDC family. So we'll put them all down here on the table, give you a little bit of an idea of what they all look like closed together. Whoops. Now, I wanted to bring this up as well, folks. We are going to be doing a lot of takedowns on knives on our channel, and we do want to include that into the second section. However, We do feel that the amount of time and the extra work that will bring to us weekly, for now at least, we would like to see this channel have a little bit of popularity. So here's what we'll do for you. If we can consistently get to about 50 likes a week on our content, or if we can get to that 100 subscriber mark, we will start doing a bi-weekly takedown on one of our Carrier Berry specials. And I want to also let you know we will be doing a 100 subscriber special. That's right, you heard it from me. All you have to do is have the channel as a subscribed in your YouTube. We also would ask that you like a video. Depending on how many videos of ours that you like, you can get as many of those names of yours in the proverbial hat or the drawing. So for instance, I believe we have 6 videos out right now, including our shorts. This will be our 7th that we're going to air. And honestly, if you like each one of those, we will give you 7 spots. If you also comment, and please keep in mind, your opinion is fantastic to us. It matters. We don't care if you dislike the knife or dislike the video. We want you to be yourselves here. However, we do ask that you refrain from fighting in the comment section. We want to keep a peaceful, wonderful place for us all to come and enjoy everyday carry items. And finally, we are working on getting our links worked out and other things like that. I would like to give a shout out to the Apostle P YouTube channel. He's your premier original knife servicing, so he can do sharpening that would blow away almost anybody I've ever seen. And he also has a weekly knife sale on YouTube. So if you're looking to pick up a really great deal, this would be a really good time for you to take a peek at Apostle P's channel and meet Rob and take a look at some of the wonderful things he does. He is a fantastic, wonderful human being, and we wish him only growth. Secondly, I do want to bring up, before we move on to the Carrier Berry section of the channel, that what we would really like to do as we move forward and grow is we would like to acknowledge Dr. Laren Thomas of KnifeSteelNerds.com. I don't know Dr. Laren Thomas. I have never spoken with him. I do subscribe to him, and I have purchased his book. Forgive me, not his bike. It's called Knife Engineering. It's a fantastic book. It has helped me learn so much more about heat treatments and steels, and as I grow in this wonderful hobby, it helps me to maintain a little bit more of knowledge as we wander through this. So Dr. Laren Thomas has a website. That's KnifeSteelNerds.com. He has a book on Amazon, which I hope by this video we'll be able to link it in. Professor will most likely also include that information somewhere on the screen here. With that being said, folks, we are going to get into the wonderful portion of our channel, the carry or bury portion. So if you are not familiar with how this works, our channel is going to hopefully be a little different than what you see out there. And how we're going to do things is we are going to use the positives as carry, and how we'll do that is Professor will denote that somewhere on the screen here with a pocket. Stitched in the pocket, it will say the word need. Secondly, if the knife has any negative features or whatever we're reviewing for that day, it could be a tool, it could be a piece of EDC gear, whatever that is. It could also have negative annotations called nails, which Professor will note somewhere on the screen as little nail icons. And what we do is if there are 4 positives, we will stop and we will then move to negatives if there are any. We will then get to 4 of those and stop. And then we'll do a tiebreaker for ones that are going to be close like that. And they'll either be carried proudly on our channel or they'll be buried, literally. Buried literally. And that doesn't always mean that the company that we're reviewing is a bad company. It could be a poor quality control model. There could be things that they could make different, but I digress. We hope that you will enjoy and grow with us as we move forward and find out what works and what doesn't. Let's get on to the meat and potatoes, they say. All right, EDC family. Before Professor cues up the needs and nails portion of the video, I want to just talk a little bit about how that works again with you. As you all know, there's positives and negatives when we do reviews. The positives, we say, are pockets, right? Or carry. What we use are pockets in the corner that have stitching in them that say need. If the item we are reviewing has 4 needs, we'll stop there because, as you may remember, the first to 5 wins. Not all reviews will have 4 or even 5 of a positive or negative. We'll cross that bridge when we do, and we'll cross that bridge together, EDC family. Then we'll move on to the negatives, which we use on the channel as nails in a coffin. You will see and hear the little nail sound when the nail comes up on the screen. If there are 4 negatives, which they're not always, as we talked about before, we'll stop there and weigh out either one more positive or negative and give our opinion on if the item should be proudly carried or buried. Okay, without further ado, let's take a look at the Kizer Cormorant and see if we'll carry it or bury it. Get ready, Professor. Get ready. We are going to talk about the needs. Number 1. Folks, it is a fun and innovative original design. Yep, Kizer does it all. They don't always go through the community to find their muse. In fact, not only is the design original and fun, they do a remarkable job with packaging. You get a nice box, and depending on your order, you also could get a really nice soft microfiber Kizer branded shimmy. You can also get spare parts. I guess you can say that Kizer doesn't screw around with their hardware. All right, number 2. Superb blade steel with a unique blade design. Folks, they use an S35VN, and that is a fantastic overall and balanced steel. I won't pretend that I'm Dr. Laren Thomas of NiceSteelNerds.com or that I've written a book that will give you all of the information on this particular steel and almost all other steels. For that, I would recommend that you go to the source. Please support Dr. Laren Thomas by purchasing his book, Knife Engineering. I'll link the book in the information section of this video through Amazon. Okay, so using Dr. Laren Thomas and his brilliant mind, we are going to just give you his summary on S35VN. Okay, CPN S35VN was released in 2009 as a modification of S30V to have superior toughness and machinability. S35VN has good potential hardness, toughness, edge retention, and of course corrosion resistance. It does not particularly excel in any one of those categories. However, it's not terrible in any of them either. The optimum heat treatment was found to be around 2025 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes with a Cairo treatment and tempering between 300 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So as far as the blade steel, fantastic. As far as the blade design, it's pretty cool. It's hard to tell what you would call it. A modified sheep's foot with a fantastic compound grind is what I'm going with, but I'm sure in the comments you'll give me what for. Now, there's even really great jimping on the blade here, so fantastic. As you can see that third pocket coming up there. All right, that's our third need. Okay, so number 3 was super easy for us. Everyone that I spoke to about this knife loved the deployability and the fidgetability. Okay, it has all of the fun ways to work an opening and closing of a knife. The thumb lock pushes down easily. It's also jimped. Okay, you can fling the blade out and fling it back. Don't want to do that? How about a more conventional thumb hole deploy? As you can see, oh yeah, does Spidey flicking work? Yup. Not done yet? Oh, that's right. It has a front flipper on the top. And if front flipping is not easy for you folks, you can do a rear thumb flip. So yeah, it's super fun to play with and very fidgetable. I absolutely love that about this knife. Number 4, the weight to blade size. All right, folks, I'm going to take the scale out for this one. We're going to close the knife and we are going to take a look at this here together. Okay. Now, I'm going to move my hand so hopefully Professor can zoom in on this a little bit. But this one weighs up right around 3.059 ounces or 88 grams. It's roughly just under 3/4 inch blade length, so it's super, super great when you're atoning ounce to blade ratio. You can carry this one around all day, and for the type of blade steel you're getting with that lightness, it's pretty darn cool if you ask me. All right, it's time to see if there are any nails on the Kizer Cormorant. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to flip this little guy over, and I'm going to clean up the pocket clip here a little bit, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, look. For a few more bucks, I would gladly pay for a better clip. This one is super tight, unbending, and it literally has ruined a pair of my jeans. I'm telling you, there is no springability in this thing. I have got to put a ton of pressure on this thing just to get it to move. And with the really tough G10 carbonized underneath, or carbon look, honestly, they could have found a much better usable clip. And I'll be honest, even possibly some work under the profile here where maybe it was smooth, just to give it a little bit more ease of going in and out of the pocket. Because this one has neither. Uh-oh. Here it comes. I knew it. You just heard it, folks. The second nail sound right here. Ooh, that sound really resonates with me. The second issue are the hot spots and the difficulty to hold this knife for bigger-handed people, like myself, obviously. So basically what that means is it's not going to affect all of you, but this is our review, in my opinion. It certainly did both of us. So the way that the index rests, or the guard, if you will, it's just too prominent, okay, to use the thumb stud without exaggerating the opening. I just can't get any purchase in there with the way that they've made this, okay? It also has the same issue with the front flipper. I have to really exaggerate my opening to get it to use with that. It also has this strange area when it's deployed where it looks like it's going to have a finger choil or possibly a sharpening choil, but it doesn't. And I've almost cut myself a few times choking up on this knife to try to get purchase with the full jimping that they have on the rear. Okay, third, I hate to do this, but I have to, especially because my other Kizer knives have been pretty great, but that's quality control. There's that nail. I'm not sure if it was the way this knife was constructed or what, but when you take it apart, you'll see some strange choices they made. Regardless of this, I digress. My blade came dull, and honestly, it was missharpened in a pretty icky way. It was crooked almost. I had to fix this on my sander and on a lot of my equipment. The blade also wouldn't deploy very well due to the tightness, so I loosened it up. And then I got a ton of blade play, both vertically and side to side. So getting it dialed in like I did, which is great, it's still not perfect. You still get a lot of stick when it comes to the button lock here. Let's clean that blade back off for you folks. Oh yes, we're about to hear a fourth nail. There it is. Okay, this has to do with the super cheap handle. Folks, they have steel liners inside. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I'm going to try to move it around a bit so you can see. They only go to about half of the knife, if that. You can see the liner right there. And they're very thin, and they are super chintzy, okay? They really can give some issues, especially when you're trying to hold it tightly, where there's no liner, the GTN squeezes and makes cracks. This also leads to what we talked about, that blade play that we talked about above. Really, really good side-to-side blade play here and there, depending on how you have this torqued down. There are not a lot of screws, okay, that are in the handle. The handle on the G10 is super thick, and then it has these really thin inlays, well, overlays, forgive me, of the really cool design where they tried to make it look like it was carbon fiber, but it's not. But on the inside, I think that's where the real atrocity is. That liner should be full. It should be a little bit more robust. If you're going to go with this thick of a handle anyway, you can even cut into the G10 and put a much larger or bigger area in there with steel so you can have a little bit more of a liner. That way it doesn't feel so cheap. Okay, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about where our negatives were on the Kizer Cormorant. The clip was our negative number 1, okay? The second issue were the hot spots all around the knife and the difficulty to deploy with larger hands, even though it has a multitude of deployment options. And then thirdly, if you remember, quality control. When I got mine, there was a lot of tinkering that I had to do just to get it to an acceptable level to carry around for the review. And finally, the fourth nail has to do with the super cheap construction of the handle with the very minimal liners on the inside. So we've talked about those 4, so let's clean the knife up a little bit and get it ready for its knife dance, if you will, on the Carry or Bury channel. Drum roll, please. Oh, you must have heard the nail before me, folks. For the first time on this channel, we are going to be burying an item. The Kizer Cormorant is a really cool start to a knife, but ultimately the 5th nail comes up due to the absolute cheapness of the feeling of this knife. It has these ting sounds. I don't know if I can pick them up fantastically on camera and microphone, but regardless, it sounds super tingy. Super cheap. I've handed this to knife people. I've handed this to non-knife people. As soon as it's deployed, they hear that ting and they feel this handle and they say, oh, that's a gas station knife. And this is far from a gas station knife, folks. This is an S35VN blade with a really unique in-house design, and it's got really great color options and lots of different things to choose from. It shouldn't feel like this. It just shouldn't. Look, I love that it has an awesome and cool design. I love that the blade has excellent steel and it has a really neat feel to it. But man, the overall knife just feels cheap. What I would love to suggest is that Kizer makes a 2.0 version of this knife. And if I'm being a little biased, maybe a bigger version of the knife. I think that with even a tiny bit of tinkering, this could be a grand slam. Nothing against Kizer. In fact, really soon on the channel, you'll find more of their products, and they obviously won't be buried, all of them. Well, I shouldn't say that. We don't know, right? But I can give you a little bit of a hint. They won't all be buried. The Kizer Cormorant should be overlooked, I guess, until they make some changes to it. Now remember, this is just our opinions here on the channel. I have large hands. You may have smaller hands. You may like the feel of the knife. I don't like the cheesy tings it makes. I don't like the horrible pocket clip that's ruined my pants. Again, EDC World, this is our take on it here on the channel. With that being said, it's time to send for the 21 EDC flip salute of the Kizer Cormorant. 21 flip salute! To all of you who are subscribing to our channel, I know our content is not coming out super quickly. Not just yet, at least. Folks, there's so much more to this than we anticipated. We're not giving up, however, so we hope you don't give up on us. We plan to do a 100 subscriber giveaway really soon, once we get to 100 subscribers, right? So please help us get there. And if you do help us get there, remember to let us know in the comment sections that you forwarded our videos or told a friend. And we don't mind giving a couple extra spaces of your name in the hat, if you will, when we digitally do our drawing. So until next time, our EDC family, keep those blades sharp, keep those flashlights charged, and for God's sakes, keep the Band-Aids close. God bless you all, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Today, we are here to bury the Kizer Cormorant. Kizer, we know you can do a better job. R.I.P. the Cormorant.
2-1 flip salute.